So, what actually is anorexia? And why isn't recovery as simple as just eating? Hey bestie! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kat and I make chaotic content documenting my life and anorexia recovery journey, hence the video you're currently watching. I received quite a few comments on my Fear Food Reels over on Instagram as to what anorexia actually is. So I thought I'd make this video to go over some of the most common signs and symptoms that someone suffering from typical anorexia might be experiencing, and why recovery is not as simple as
just eating.
Coming from someone who's currently struggling. If you're wanting to gain a better understanding of what a loved one of yours is going through, or are simply here out of curiosity to educate yourself a little bit more on anorexia, this video is for you. It's by no means an all-encompassing description of the illness, so please do not use this video to self-diagnose or feel invalidated in your illness if something I mentioned does not apply to you. I will leave links to all the sources I'm citing in the description below, as well as links to some helplines if you think you or someone you know might be suffering from an eating disorder. If that is the case, I urge you to seek professional help. And on that note, what is anorexia? By the way, if I'm looking down, it's because there's a script here. I did not memorize this whole video. Who do you think I am? Besties? Okay, moving on. What is anorexia? The NHS defines it as follows. Anorexia nervosa, often called anorexia, is an eating disorder and serious mental health condition. People who have anorexia try to keep their weight as low as possible. They may do this in different ways, such as not eating enough food, exercising too much, taking laxatives, or making themselves sick. This can make them very ill because they start to starve. They often have a distorted image of their bodies, thinking they're fat even when they're underweight. Men and women of any age can get anorexia, but it's most common in young women and typically starts in the mid-teens. I just want to highlight the fact that anyone can have anorexia. Anorexia is not a weight disorder, it's a mental illness, and men and women of any age can be suffering. Some of the signs and symptoms of anorexia include missing meal times, eating very little, or having ritualistic tendencies around how you eat food, constantly thinking about food and feeling guilty after eating, meticulously counting or controlling calories, and being obsessive over what you eat, for example restricting certain fear foods or foods you see as fattening or unhealthy, having a distorted body image such as seeing yourself as overweight when you're in fact a healthy weight or are underweight, an unusually low BMI for adults or an unusually low BMI percentage for young people under 18, in young women and girls, your period stopping, further physical problems such as feeling lightheaded, dizzy, experiencing hair loss or having unusually dry skin, exercising compulsively or excessively, using medications such as appetite suppressants or laxatives in order to control your weight. Not everyone with anorexia will show all symptoms of the illness, and you are entirely valid if you, for example, don't have fear foods or you don't struggle with exercise. They're things that I personally struggle with, but it does not mean that you are not ill if there's things that you don't struggle with. Anorexia is a mental health disorder first and foremost, not a weight disorder. You can be a healthy weight, you can be overweight and have anorexia. It's a mental disorder. I'm gonna say that like 100 times during this video, so get ready for some repetition because it's so important. I hate the stigma that only these young teenage ballet dancers have anorexia. No, anyone can have this illness. Anorexia has the highest mortality rate out of any mental illness, and I think if we can break the stigma, we're gonna get so much further with helping people and helping people come forwards. What causes anorexia amongst other eating disorders? No one actually knows for sure, but more often than not, anorexia amongst many other eating disorders is developed as a coping strategy or as a result of some kind of emotional trauma. Research has shown that there can be some environmental triggers such as having a friend or family member with the illness, or being exposed to an excessive amount of talk around diet and exercise through, for example, sports groups. Many athletes develop eating disorders as a result of the pressure to have their bodies look a certain way. Basically, you're more likely to develop an unhealthy relationship with food if the people around you have an unhealthy relationship with food. But other causes may be things such as anxiety or extreme perfectionism. No matter what caused your eating disorder, it's important to remember that it is not in any way your fault. You are not attention seeking, you are not just strong-willed for restricting food, and you do not lack discipline if you struggle with overeating. No matter how ill you think you may or may not be, you are always worthy of recovery. So what about recovery? Recovery is going to look different for everyone because anorexia looks different for everyone. If you think you or someone you know might have anorexia, even if you're not sure, please seek professional help. Getting help early on gives you the best possible chance of a full recovery. When you are able to see a doctor, a unique treatment plan will be made for you. This may include things such as referral to a specialist ED clinic, CBT or cognitive behavioural therapy, family therapy, and or a personalised meal plan usually aimed at weight restoration. In some cases, it may be advised for you to go to an inpatient or hospital facility for more intensive rehabilitation treatment. Although recovery is generally focused around weight gain and physical restoration, it's important to note that As anorexia is a mental disorder and not exclusive to people who are underweight, therapeutic advice is just as, if not more important to go alongside this. As I said, recovery looks different for everyone, so naturally everyone's idea of being recovered is different too. In my case, I need to physically restore myself through a lot of weight gain and getting my periods back, but I also don't want to spend the rest of my life obsessing around foods. So I hope to someday regain the same food freedom that Little Cat used to have. And why isn't recovery as simple as just eating? Well, in many cases, if weight gain is one of the focal points of your recovery, it theoretically is as simple as just eating. Food is your medicine when you need to physically restore yourself, but the problem lies in the fact that for people suffering with anorexia, just eating is easier said than done. Recovery has to be a process of not only weight gain, because as per mentioned, anorexia is not a weight disorder, but also rewiring your brain. If you're terrified of flying, it's not going to be as simple as someone telling you to just get on the plane for you to overcome that fear. And even if you do get on the plane, you're probably still going to be terrified. It's going to take getting on the plane over and over again until you don't feel the fear anymore. And it's the same exact principle for eating food in recovery. There are so many mental hurdles that you've got to overcome in order to just eat. Hence why it's not the end all and be all of anorexia recovery. In conclusion, I hope this video was able to give you a little bit more insight on what anorexia is like for many people. Like I said, this is not an all-encompassing definition of anorexia and should not be used as a way to self-diagnose or to make you feel invalidated in your illness. If you are ill in any capacity, you are ill enough to recover. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, bestie. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with my growth journey and comment this emoji if you made it to the end of the video. I love you so much. Keep doing what makes you smile. Stay classy and stay cool. I'll see you very soon. Toodles! Was I in focus? Oh my god. No. Do not tell me I was not. Am I really overexposed? Yes. Am I going to refilm the entire video because of it? No, because I've already done that twice because my camera ran out of charge. Pray for me, besties. I'm not okay.